Hello again everyone and welcome to another edition, the third episode of First Job, Worst Job. Today we've got another member of staff here from Joseph Chamberlain Sixth Form College, so I'm going to hand you over to Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm a marketing assistant at Joseph Chamberlain College. It's actually really weird thinking how long ago my first job was, saying I'm one of the youngest people here. I was 17 when I had my first job. I had to get out and work. I just really needed to get out into the working world. It's what I'd always wanted to do. And like every other young teenager, I really struggled to find a job because I had no experience. So by the time I'd got to this small little pub down the road from me, I just had no hope whatsoever. I posted my CV, went out and thought nothing of it until a few months later I had a phone call saying, can you come in and have an interview? Which was amazing. Went in for the first time. It was really empty because it was just me and the boss in there, closing times. And he offered me the job on the spot, which I was amazed at. And so went home really happy, thinking, oh great, finally got a job, getting into the working world. And you just imagine going into this bar and this really classy place, you know, you're a bright-eyed teenager thinking about everything. I walked in, it was like the fuzzy duckling from Tangled. It was big, burly men everywhere, absolutely petrifying, and I'm tiny, they all towered over me. So it was petrifying, but it was probably the best job I've ever had, the most memorable one. I learned so many things. I had a great working relationship with my boss. He was absolutely brilliant. He taught me to do floats, he taught me to do barrels. I learned great customer service from telling the customers firmly and politely, no more drinks. And I learned so many things there. I gained so much experience and confidence that I was really sad when the pub closed for different reasons a year later. But I'd recommend bar work for anyone really who was looking into a job, because once you've got that experience, it keeps you going forever. I've had so many bar offers and bar jobs that I wouldn't have been able to get them if I didn't have this first job. So that is a really good experience for me to have as a first job. I really enjoyed it. My worst job is actually quite controversial really, because at the time I really loved it. I have had a few bar jobs where I've had a really horrible manager or a few office politics in staff, but you learn to deal with that. The worst job I've ever had was my first 9-to-5 job. It was an apprenticeship in graphic design, and I walked into the interview and just clicked with the boss like that. We really got along well. And I was offered the job quite soon afterwards. Was really happy to take it because it was a brand new experience. Finally got first real job. And we worked really, really well together. He was really laid back. We got to the working relationship where I'd text him one morning when I didn't feel well or didn't feel up to walking. He'd come and pick me up and take me to work. I'd let him know if I was having a problem at home or there was something I needed to get back for. He'd let me leave at 2 o'clock rather than 5, and it wouldn't have affected anything because he knew that I'd get on and I'd make the work up afterwards. It got to the point where he trusted me enough to leave me in the office. It was just me and him as a working company really. It was his company and I was there helping out. And I think looking back, knowing what I know now, it was quite obvious that he was a bit of a con, really. I was never given a contract despite asking a few times. I hadn't mentioned it to the college because obviously he's my first boss, you get along really well, and I didn't want to go behind his back and say, look, my boss isn't doing this. And he always said, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll get on and do it soon, and it just never happened. There were a few payments missed to start with, so he paid me on a weekly basis just straight into my debit account. I wouldn't get receipts or pay slips or anything. And I used to just text him and say, you've forgotten again, send it over, which he would. And I was probably working there for about 8-9 months, and one morning I went into the office and was told that my card was blocked, I couldn't go in. So emailed him and said, "What's going on? I can't go in, where are you?" He responded and said, "Oh, I forgot to pay the bill, go home, have a day off and it'll be dealt with in the morning," and it wasn't. For the next month I was working at home, and again I wasn't being paid, so I was doing all this free work. I think it went on for about 3 months until I thought, you know what, I've asked him enough times. I went to my college and mentioned it, and they recommended I went to ACAS. So ACAS contacted him, he went nuts and just fired me on the spot for a number of reasons really. And that was it really, but I don't think I actually would say I wouldn't do that job again, because it's got me this job that I've got now. I've got some amazing experience from there and learned so many things, but I think I definitely look out for those kind of signs that I need to fight for. And going back, I think I would be a lot stronger and be able to stand up to him, but there's just a little pointer for you guys there. Contracts do mean things, guys.
Big thank you to Natalie there for those stories. Quite an insight really, and obviously I didn't know any of that before I just watched her filming. So I think, you know, in terms of lessons being learned and things, I know the world is changing when it comes to graphic design, photography and the arts, and a lot of people expect you to work for free, for credit, for exposure, and I just, it seems to be a bit bizarre that you would expect a professional to work for free, and that seems to actually have been going on for quite a few years. So if you are good at what you do, make sure you get paid for what you do, make sure you get recognised for what you do. ACAS are there actually to help you. Unfortunately, some employers don't realise that. Let's hope the employers that you'll be working for do. So thanks to Natalie, appreciate it, especially the advice on the contracts. Get it in writing. Thank you, see you next time.